So welcome to Dynamic Foundry Group. I am Sandeep Kulkarni from Mahalakshmi Metals Kolhapur and admin of Dynamic Foundry Group. Welcome you all to this panel discussion. Uh, I'm glad to say that this is 99th online session by Dynamic Foundry Group since after lockdown. So we have completed almost 98 online sessions so far from 31st of March 2020, that is from lockdown. And this is 99th online session by us. We have also started our YouTube channel in May 2020, and out of this 98 sessions which we have covered online, almost 66 sessions are already there put on the YouTube channel, which you can see anytime and whenever you want, free of cost. So we request you all the viewers to please distribute our to subscribe our channel and take benefit of these available videos for your benefit. So now we turn around to our today's topic, that is panel discussion on raw material price hike and concerns and solutions. Why this panel discussion is required basically? It is required because the present market situation is very critical to all of the foundrymen, and due to huge hike in raw material prices and alloy prices, foundries are facing issues of managing their cost and availability of good quality material as well. So this panel discussion will be focusing on some of the major points related to this situation and try to get some sort of short-term and long-term solutions to this problem. Situation including handling of such issues with the customer effectively is another important aspect of today's panel discussion. So today's panel members, which are going to discuss about these things, one is the price increase, that is present status overview, price increase handling strategy with the customer, typical model of price handling from foundries, long-term and short-term actions by casting producers, what is global situation at the moment with respect to Indian conditions, and then there will be an open question answer session for all of us. These are some of the cutouts from the newspaper which we have already seen in last few days, and that is why we are been gathered here to discuss on this topic. This is one of the few graphs I have plotted based on one of the index. I have seen here, you can see here CRCA scrap, the quarter-wise increase in CRCA. If you consider third quarter and fourth quarter, there is a huge or drastic rise of 11.41% in CRCA scrap in last one quarter. Similarly, MS scrap, you can see around 11% rise is there. In pig iron, there is almost 7% rise shown in one of the index. So all about data is from one of the index subscription up to 18th of December 2020. Though this index data does not express the exact picture of market trend, especially pig iron, because pig iron actual purchase shows more than 15% hike, whereas this index is not showing even showing less than 7% hike. So the data which index is showing an actual purchase data, the delta is not matching at all, but still we can say it will give us a indication of or trend of the present situation. This is another comparison which I have got from Joint Council Association of Coimbatore chapter. They have all recently circulated one press letter, and from that I have taken this data. And if you see this data, the price increase is almost 20 to 40% in all commodities of the foundry. You can see everywhere it is increasing. Aluminum is there, then resins are there, zinc is there, copper is there. Everything are going in positive trend or increasing trend, and it is from almost 20% to 40% in all commodities of the foundry. And also further expected that there is a more hike in raw material prices in coming days, especially January 2021. So this is from my side. Thank you very much. I am now let us go to our experts panel members for their views, suggestions on this topic in this panel discussion. And let's hope that we'll get talk, a good discussion, some positive approach discussion we
मी
can
सर
say.
ट्राय करत होतो.
We can go to our panel members. We have around 12 panel members today. I have divided them into three categories. The first category will be foundries with mainly automobile and tractor sector. It represented by Mr. Jaideep Bapna, Muta Foundry Satara, then Mr. Gulabrao Patil of Athar Foundry Y, Mr. C. Senthil Kumar from Amarun Foundry, Coimbatore, and Mr. Amar Patil, plant head, Mahindra and Mahindra, Mumbai. The second sector mainly representing some of the automobile tractor, but mainly non-automobile sector. It is also, we can say, batch type or casting manufacturing foundries. It has been represented by Mr. Yash Singh of Mumbai, then Mrs. Ruma Kinariwala Rao from Palm Alloy Steel Private Limited, Mumbai, Mr. Adarsh Jaiswal, Matrix and Foundry, Howrah, West Bengal, and Mr. Prayut Banawat from Mangalam Steel Cars Private Limited, Baroda. Then we have third sector, which represented by raw material suppliers, buyers, and mentors. They will definitely help us to understand the situation and also help us in taking some conclusive decisions as well. It has been represented by Mr. Nagesh Dumma, Director, Stephenberg Industries GmbH, Mr. M.R. Shah, Editor of Foundry Magazine, Ahmedabad. Then it is Mr. Manish Patrikar from MPM Nagpur, and Mr. Amish Panchal, ex-past president of IAP and partner Castwell Foundries, Ahmedabad. So I request Mr. Jaideep Bapna sir to start with his presentation. Jaideep sir, welcome.
Okay. Sandeep, you have my presentation?
Yes, already started.
Okay, thank you very much. And really appreciate all the effort that goes into this. So many thanks to Sandeep for organizing this important discussion. I present one viewpoint of a mid-sized group of foundries. I'll quickly introduce who Mutha is. Next slide, please. Am I audible?
Yes, very much.
Okay. So we are a group of foundries based in Satara, Maharashtra. We make roughly about 3,500 tons per month. We make all kinds of iron castings, particularly CI, SGI, high silicon, high moly, and aluminum castings. We have multiple foundries, so we can support shell molding, green sand. In green sand, we have a high pressure line as well as conventional Joule Spies lines. We also have centrifugal lines, and for aluminum, we have GDC process. And finally, we have a very good machine shop. So most of about 99% of our output is all machine castings. Typically, we supply cylinder blocks, very complex exhaust manifolds, hydraulic castings, water pump bodies, pulleys, flywheels, hubs, these type of castings. So that's about Mutha Group of Foundries. Now let's turn to the topic of the day. Sandeep, next slide, please. So like good engineers and good foundrymen, instead of going in a haphazardous way, let's try to do this using CAPA. If those of you who are not familiar, if you're in a commercial sector, this is how an engineer should approach a problem, is define the problem, try to get to the root cause of the problem, and then attack that root cause of the problem. Unfortunately, I hit a roadblock. So this is not a full CAPA. Don't learn this, don't apply this when you're trying to solve porosity or vermicular casting, when you're trying to make SGI. This is my modified version of CAPA to solve a very complex commercial problem we have ended up with. So this slide is the summary of what I'm going to talk about. The problem is very clear. Sandeep already highlighted that we have a twin problem. One is acute shortage of raw material, and following that, the twin cousin of it has showed up, which is sudden price inflation, right? Naturally, you have shortage of material, you will see prices increase. So, and what is the root cause? In my analysis, the root cause is people are naturally, opportunistically hoarding the material and profiteering locally. But why are they able to do that? If you go deeper, exports have become lucrative and imports are blocked into India. And why has that happened? Because there is globally, the demand has suddenly surged because of the stimulus measures various central governments and central bankers have given in their countries. Vis-a-vis, India has not had such a big stimulus. So the demand outside is far more, and the export is driving all the material out, and we are facing shortages and therefore rises. Now, really, can we do anything about these economic forces? Economic forces are very big. People try to solve that. So in that case, this CAPA fails because you arrive at a root cause where the action is not in your hands. It is in the hands of power makers, politicians, government, policy makers. So you have to say a serenity prayer, which is accept what you cannot change, have the courage to change what you can change, and be wise to know the difference. Okay. So we will focus on understanding what we cannot change and what we can change. And if we can change, what can we change, and let us build the courage. Okay. So next slide, please. You with me so far, understanding?
Yes, please.
Okay, so going back to the problem, as Sandeep has clearly mentioned, we are facing lot of shortages. Some base materials, which is iron ore, steel scrap, electrical steel, PVC resin, has seen shortages, outright shortages. Mali nahi hai to phone hi nahi utha raha hai banda. And because of that, those who have material available in their stock, they are selling it at an enormous cost. You know, you saw in Sandeep's sheet again, 25 to 50%, and sometimes even more than that. It has increased over the past 3.5 months, more so over the last 1.5 months, particularly steel, all foundry items like coke, pig iron, cast irons, CI borings, HR sheet, I've heard, went by 20 rupees. So 44 rupees sheet has gone to 64 sheet. Everything else that you need, copper, brass, aluminum, amine gas, PVC, everything has gone up. So that is the twin problem we are facing, shortage and price hikes. Next slide, please. So that's our CAPA approach. We have defined the problem now. Let us see the YY analysis. So what is the problem? Prices have shot up. Why? Because people are opportunistically profiting. Then you ask why? Oh, because there is shortage in the market. Why is there shortage in the market? Oh, because suppliers are hoarding it. But the suppliers have to sell material. Why are they hoarding it? Because they can sell at better price in exports. Exports have become lucrative. Why have exports become lucrative? Because the global demand is much faster. It has grown faster. Why has global demand become faster? Because central governments in US has injected $2 trillion, and now they have approved some $900 billion in stimulus measures. Naturally, all of that money goes to industry. Industry says make more, consumers say consume more. Their countries are seeing much faster growth. Okay, so the stimulus driven by the pandemic has exploded the demand, and they are willing to, they have the muscle of the dollar. So they are sucking all the material. And so why are they able to do that? Because this is modern economic policy. Government started giving stimulus, and this is a well-known method now. This is modern economic policy, and there is a virus going around. So they had no option. They had to inject this money. And finally, these are economic forces. Where there is demand, there is supply. And the demand is heavier, so all our exports are going out through containers. On the other side, I did not mention in this CAPA, the import. We took a very aggressive stance to imports. Imports, particularly from China, even though we did not completely ban them, the imports were slowed down. A lot of containers are, as you may know, are sitting at the ports. So container availability also has become a problem. So how is material to come in if the containers are sitting at the port, right? So all these things are there. Now, again, I told you this is a CAPA. We defined the problem. We know what the root cause is. The root cause is the virus. Okay, now can we do anything about the virus? When the vaccine comes, it's going to take time. So in this case, the CAPA fails because these are powers which are in hands of politicians, economic policy makers, and everything. So then you oh God, give us the serenity to accept what cannot be changed, the courage to change what can be changed, and the wisdom to know one from the other. Okay, Vivekananda has famously reworded this. It's one of my favorite ones. But let us see still what can we do in these circumstances. We cannot change economic policy. We cannot change trade forces. What we can do is maybe we can hedge. But hedging is very hard in our field because CRCA, all of these don't have proper hedging instruments. And this is very hard for small foundries. So one of the approaches which works in smaller cases, if you have currency exposure and currency is surging, you can hedge. But in terms of copper, you can find maybe hedges for copper, but you cannot hedge steel because it's a very tricky input. There's all kinds of steels, and you cannot, because there are no hedges available with most of the financial places. So again, going back, can we control the virus? No. Can we control economic forces? No. So this is a capitalistic world. Globally we are promoting free trade. If our country promotes free trade and export is giving better prices, they will sell. If I was having 500 tons or 2,000 tons in my factory, or in my yard, I would sell it to whoever gives the best price. So, but people still try. Okay, now I'm sure all the articles that clippings I've read that Sandeep has shared, people are demanding government should step in. गवर्नमेंट ने प्राइस कंट्रोल्स लगाना चाहिए, एमआरपी लगाना चाहिए, एक्सपोर्ट बैन कर देना चाहिए, कोटास. प्रॉब्लम इज, you know, economics 101 kitab padhoge, so it says please don't do this. This will ruin your ease of doing business. Your country will become looked at as, you know, these are regressive people. They जो खुद के मन में आता है वो कर देते हैं, and then they regret. They do demonetization. They do all kinds of funny things. They ban exports, but they ban imports, but you know, they try to control all kinds of things. So this doesn't work in economics. Majorly, it may work temporarily, but it creates problems for consumers because then smuggling and all kinds of routes open up. The positive measures that we can do as industry lobby is we can tell the government, please promote imports, because finally material has to come for me to make something, right? So reduce the import duties, allow import of steel material, free up the stuck up containers which are sitting at the ports. We need the containers to again export also, right? And then expedite some things that have been in the iron for so many years, you know, scrappage policy. The government has been sitting on that thing. We have to push them, scrappage policy. I would say even if some of you who live in Pune, if BRTS khol do, uska itna steel niklega, we'll be able to run our foundries at least for 2-3 days. I'm just joking about that BRTS thing, but there are so many things like more serious thing. The sale yards are, I think, closed. The government, we can push the government to open up the sale yards, right? Expedite scrappage policy. And then urge the government to give stimulus, real stimulus. We are afraid of inflation, but this is inflation. What we are seeing, what is the difference between inflation and specific price rise? Inflation is everywhere. You are seeing plastic people also complaining. Here we are a group of foundrymen saying, "Arey, mera material बढ़ गया." You ask the injection molding factory, he is saying, "मेरा भी बहुत बढ़ गया, मेरा तो दुगना हो गया, तुम लोग क्या है 30-40% बढ़ गया." So we have to talk to the government that there is cost push inflation which will hurt the company. Eventually, the motorcycle or the LCV, HCV that will be made using our castings will also be expensive, and then everywhere you will see inflation. So we have to alert the government about these risks. Okay, am I making sense? Please, next slide, please. So what can we do? You know, none of those things that I talked about. We, as an industry body, if we can make a strong representation, if we can get the Gadkaris of the world to lobby with us, and we can change things. But there are few things as foundrymen we should do properly, and this is our chance to do it, which is the most important thing is to convince our customers to give full indexation. I say full, I underline full indexation. What does indexation mean? That if in the current quarter I am seeing a price increase in my in all my inputs, I say full, whether my power went up, whether my raw metals went up, alloying metals went up, labor went up, have a negotiated contract with your customer that in the next quarter they are going to give you. Now, if you are a much smaller foundry, don't talk quarter, talk month. Okay. Now, there is a bigger problem for some of us who are exporting. We don't have quarterly or monthly, we have annual contracts. In that case, what we need to do is we have to have financial strength to bear, because we are going to buy raw material, which will be more expensive than the contracts that we are selling at. So for a year, we will be selling material at a loss. Of course, next year we will gain that, because if indexing works properly, then we are going to get that benefit. But we have to have the financial strength to not go under. Okay. So that is the third bullet point that I'm saying is we have to have that capacity, financial capacity. Understood? And in that, don't forget, you know, your money is going to be locked into GST. So make sure, don't make the mistake of forgetting GST. You are going to pay GST upfront, and that money will also be blocked. Okay, because you are going to pay GST on higher inputs. Next slide, please. So I'm just showing one example here of how we do delta. So you can look at the existing indexes, and you can work out with your customer that on a monthly or quarterly or at least half yearly basis, they have to give you a delta, where basically here I'm just showing one example. I've taken prices of CRCA every week. And then if you see cell number J4, I'm taking the delta, which is nothing but the difference between this month's average price and last month's average price. That delta works out to say 2 rupees. Then the customer has to give you a purchase order amendment in the next month for CRCA for 2 rupees. Now, naturally, CRCA is not your only input. So obviously you should, other than this delta working for every commodity, including CRCA, pig iron, MS scrap, you have to have your alloying elements, you have to have power, you have to have labor, and a formula which indicates how much, whatever is your economical charge. For that, you should have a written contract with your customer. Now, some people wing it. You know, they say, "Kabhi सस्ते में आएगा तो मेरे को ज्यादा में बेचने को मिलता है." Don't do that mistake, because these are the months where you get caught behind and then you can ruin the entire business. So this is the key. Have a concrete delta working with your customer for every commodity, every input if possible. Naturally, if I'm a OEM, I will say, ठीक है, तुम्हारा main input क्या है? CRCA, pig iron and scrap है ना, तीनों पे दूंगा, labor भूल जाओ. But please, this is your chance, rework that, because this labor problem will come in the future and we'll be sitting in a discussion again. Next slide, please. So I hope this delta working is very simple and most of you are doing it. If you're not, then please do it. But the key input, if you notice, you know, Sandeep also mentioned that the delta is, who is to tell what is the delta? You need a very good index. And the problem is our industry does not have a good index. So I'm proposing that we have a very good index. And what forms a good index? I've written few points down. I have many other thoughts I can share one-on-one with you. But the index should be transparent. Everyone should know किसका डेटा है. इसमें मुथा का डेटा है, कूपर का डेटा है, मेनन का डेटा है, अमरुन का डेटा है. We have to know whose invoices this index builder is taking, and month to month the same people have to go give those indexes. Now I am also saying the second point is it has to be broad. It should not just be invoices from foundries, but the sellers also have to give their selling invoices. Okay, so both sides, 20 buyers and 20 sellers have to submit to a database. That forms a good index. If you look at Nifty or any of the stock indices, they are very reliable. You can go and reconstruct that and it's a reliable indicator. Today, who is to verify? If a scrap dealer goes to one of the index makers and says, "Yaar, 4 rupiya bada de," then he can come to Mutha and say, look, that index is publishing 4 rupees and I have to pay 4 rupees. So the point is we have to have a very broad index, a very stable index. The third is it has to be a committee-driven index. What I mean is, you know, which foundry will be giving these invoices, because some foundries have local sources which are not available to tap to anyone. They may get scrap prices at lower prices. 2 rupees सस्ते में, because naturally उसमें transport नहीं चलेगा, because that local guy is a small fabrication shop, he doesn't know the market, he may give it cheaper. So we have to have a very good process of construction of this index, where the inclusion or exclusion of whose invoices are counted in computing that index has to be concrete. Third, it has to be verifiable. We have to be able to anytime check, how did this number arrive? Why is, you know, pig iron showing 36 rupees? And then it has to be consistent, okay? Because, you know, like I was discussing before this, Porwal Saab is sitting in Indore, I am sitting in Pune, right? There is a difference of 1 rupee transportation. So what we are not worried about is the final output. We are worried about the delta. The delta has to be reliable. Then it doesn't matter if the material is generating in Chakan, reaches Satara or reaches Indore. You know, if everybody submits their invoices genuinely, we will have a very good index. Now that's the problem. And then we should never have gaps in this data series. We should have regular data series. If somebody doesn't submit, then that party should be banned from submitting to the index. And then all of these indexes are generally constructed, cannot be an Excel based. It has to be a robust software database design, and somebody has to invest in this kind of a process. And then finally, the history should be available. If my marketing manager or your marketing manager wants to go back to the OE, he should be able to query what was the price trend, and online that chart should be able to, you should be able to plot it. Today, it is a very hard task, you know, so someone has to open the PDF and everything. So I will quickly wind up. I realize I'm running out of time. So history should be available. And the final thing is the delta from the index is the key. it has to be unbiased from there are many sources of influences. Your price and my price will never match. And there are many reasons for it, because transportation is there, whether you are buying loose CRCA scrap and I'm buying bundled, lot of those things. And there is under invoicing, over invoicing, which is a common practice in our industry, because, someone has to, the scrap seller has some relationship management fees and all kinds of fees, you know what I mean. So ultimately, the same sources have to submit to an index, and an index has to be constructed from reliable, continuous sources. That is our only solace. Now, this is a very hard problem, I realize. So this is just my thinking, stream of thought. Sandeep, last slide, please. So I will just conclude by saying the problem is actually a macroeconomic problem. It's a trade problem. Exports have surged, and we cannot do anything about the price surges, but to go back to the customer and set up proper negotiation for regular indexation. And within us, we have to build financial reserves that even if there is a lag, he's going to pay me, but he's going to pay me next quarter. How do I survive this quarter? You have to have some way to financially build that reserve. You should not fall short on working capital. You have to go back to your bankers, explain to them the situation, and get a line increase, because your GST, your base metals, everything is rising. And like I said, we don't have a reliable index whose delta can be relied on. We have to work on, as an industry body, on building a good index. If you are transparent with your data, please contribute that data. We will work on something together. And then finally, we are still going to try the hard way. Then let us urge the government to give us more stimulus, open up the imports so that the containers don't. These are the positive changes. My request is not to chase minimum reserve prices. These kind of measures don't work. So that I'll conclude there, and I'm very keen on understanding what others are approaching this problem.
Thank you, Jaideep. Thank you very much. It's a nice presentation. And now we'll have a question answer session at the end. So viewers, you can put up your questions with you. You can ask it at the end. So now I request Mr. Gulabrao Patil of Atharva Foundry Y to start his talk on this particular topic.
Good evening to all.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
I hope I am audible to all.
Yes, you are audible.
Great. Bafna sir almost have covered most of the nooks and corner of today's session, and really very nice presentation, Bafna ji. I would like to add into this small points, but which are going to affect us seriously. Like the CRCA has gone from 27 to 37, but the melting loss, which our customer don't gives, and we are losing into that. Then this effect of buying of November and December will seriously affect the cash flow in the month of January or January end, when the customer prices, fund is getting received, and we have to pay to the vendors. And next, coming out of this is the one more increase is there, which I think which is suppressed after this big increase. That is the transport cost. Transport cost for the sand and transport cost for the transporting the scrap and the castings. That has also significantly increased. And the next thing comes into that, as you said, that index is also having its own problem. Like when the real increase and the MMR and the CM, what the delta is the difference. Of course, their delta comes, but that comes one month later. And the next point comes into this is that now we are buying at 35, 37 rupees, and the customer definitely will give, but when and what, that nobody knows so far. And the always worry point is whenever there is a price increase, it follows with the schedule reduction. When it follows with the schedule reductions, the effect comes on the foundry directly, because that time customer is very clear, he really don't need a material, and the pressure loses on him. And now the pressure is built on the foundries, because customer is deciding factor. He says, okay, I will give you, but when they have discussion going on, negotiations going on. Your supplier don't. You have a shortage of material. Your customer person is sitting on your head. You have to buy. No choice. Now, with all this jugglery, means I will say jugglery. Literally, it is jugglery. You have to buy. No choice, and you have to wait when your customer gives. Like our two major OEMs, Tata and Mahindra, they don't have indexing facility. So you have to negotiate with them. And foundry, like as a very small foundry, they can't negotiate with them. Whatever they settle, we have to take it. Fortunately, both the customer have their own foundries. So they knows every items, every part by part cost, what is inflation going on, what price increase going on, what is the reason behind this. So they knows every small details, because they are also in Maharashtra. So we are not different then. But when the point comes to the price settling, they start negotiating. And then what ends with the foundry, whatever they give, you have to take it. And same thing happens when there is a reduction also. Foundry man feels that yes, there was a reduction of 5 rupees, but customer has taken 3 rupees. That time nobody makes noise. So as Mr. Bapna said, that there should be this strong indexing system which both should govern with that. Of course, supplier will govern it, no problem, because when they go to the customer says, okay, you have to follow the SIAM, and we sign a contract. But particularly for this Tata and Mahindra, something must be done. Fortunately, today customer is also in this session, so I request customer to because he is from our fraternity, foundry. So he is also having the same pain. One point I would like to add definitely here, the labor cost. After COVID, labor cost has increased significantly. Plus, government also done a lot of changes into the minimum labor wages. So that has also affected significantly. And ultimately, all these points, small points put together, the increase is gone about more than 30%. If everything we consider put together, and it is still not stopping. Now the copper price is about 650 rupees. That is what is the quote coming. And our settlement is with 450 rupees. And it's when points really comes to the calculations, so nobody works into the detail. Okay, we have given a 1 rupees for this grade, 1 rupees 50 paisa for this grade. But where the reality comes is, the reality is more than that. So my sincere request or the efforts should be made towards the indexing, and as Mr. Bapna said, it should be on a monthly basis. And the indexing something like that, whatever this Nifty and the Sensex moves, like that there should be something on real-time data. For thinking, it looks like a very simple. For implementing, I think Mr. Amish Panchal was trying it when he was the president of IIF. He tried very hard, but unfortunately it doesn't come into the fact. But I think this is the time all foundrymen should come together and sit together. Maybe similar sessions can be done, and we must arrive on some indexing basis. And also IIF, I request IIF chairpersons and the all officials to invite a customer price settling peoples, so that they should be also involved into this. And fortunately, we have all OEMs in the country like Maruti, Hyundai, Tata Motors, Mahindra. So this is all from my side. Sandeep, I think you are mute.
Good evening to all of you. Am I audible?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm Shadul Kumar from Amarul Foundries. we are a foundry, ferrous foundry in Coimbatore, producing 2,000 metric tons per month. And we mostly cater to automotive, tractor.
You can increase your voice little bit.
And we mostly cater to automotive, tractor, and valve segments. And just I'm giving the present status.
Senthil sir, your voice is not audible.
Yeah, please increase your voice, sir.
Am I audible now?
Yeah,
Yes,
little better now.
yes.
Okay. See, now, day by day price increase of raw materials, because once in 2 days we are getting frequent price increase letters from our suppliers. They are just giving the price with the effective date. And there is a shortage of raw materials in the market. Even if we give price increase, we are not getting enough raw material. Which means that further the price increase is going to happen. And indications are also further price increase in January 2021 also. Because most of the steel players, they had given the price hike letters from 6 rupees to 7.5 effective 1st January. So this will happen in our all the raw materials. So the present situation, due to the continuous price increase, we do not know what to request with the customer. That is the present situation. Next slide. The next slide. I think one slide had passed. So unless we get adequate price compensation from us, it is very difficult. And see, just I'm giving you the cost impact. So comparing January 2020 and the second week of December 2020, the cost impact on account of raw materials, it comes to rupees 11 per kilo. And for alloys and consumables, it comes to rupees 2 per kilo. So the total cost impact, it comes to rupees 13 per kilo. So we had got some price correction in September and October 2020. So taking into account of the price correction, we had requested the balanced price correction with the customers. So since the price impact is huge and unless we get adequate compensation from the customer, we cannot sustain our operations. Next page. So our present price handling strategy is a transparent cost workout sheet. That cost worksheet, it includes all the details of raw materials, alloys, and other price details. And the clearer we are, there will not be any misunderstanding with the customer. Of course, we have some problem with the indexation, because if they follow indexation, there is a serious problem in the actual prices and the index prices. For example, in case of cast iron borings, the actual delta is around 12 to 13 rupees per kilo, whereas the index is only 6 rupees. So there also we could not support with the, we could not take proper index with our customer. Next slide. So the current price mechanism, what we followed is quarterly price correction, like most of us do. Next slide. So the current challenges in following that quarterly price correction, that in case of continuous price increase like the current situation, if we take the quarterly average of a particular quarter, for example, if you take this current quarter, Q4 2020, then the price compensation will be less for Q1 2021, because most of the price increase, it happened in December. So this puts us in trouble, and our definitely our cash flow will get affected. And even in this third week of December, I found the stock of castings in most of the customer warehouse is increasing. So if the price correction increase happens in, it continues and it continues in January, the market, I feel it could not observe such quantum of price increase, and it may lead to drop in schedules. So if this happens, and if we follow the quarterly price correction, then the cost could not be recovered in the next quarter, that is in Q2 2021. This puts us in serious trouble. So what we had a new price handling strategy. This month onwards, we had requested the customer to follow monthly price correction till the raw material prices stabilizes. So we also gave enough indications to the customer about the possible price increase of raw materials in January 2021. So we requested for early price conclusion with the customer. Also informed that we are finding it difficult to sustain our operations and to maintain the schedules. So we requested early price conclusion with the customer. That's from my end, sir. Thank you.
Sandeep, I think you are on mute if you're talking.
Amar, you can start.
Yeah, yeah. Can you see my presentation?
Yeah, you just go to full screen.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Is it okay now?
Yeah, correct.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Go
Good
ahead.
evening, all. Yeah, I will just speak on certain points where I will not repeat the same points what have already been discussed by most eminent speakers. So this is what I would like to just give some kind of a statistic. See, for cylinder head and cylinder block casting, if you see this price index of various allocation, the raw material contributes to around 60%, and followed by like energy, labor, and other parts. So whatever price rise or price increase in the raw material will not cost you in the totality in terms of per kg or something, and subsequently it will add or it will contribute into our overall vehicle. If you see in terms of automobile, around 300 to 400 kg of material which goes into one automobile, like passenger car or commercial vehicle, utility vehicle. And if you see the tractor industry, it is around 1000 kg per tractor. So that kind of a contribution it is on that overall price of the vehicle. This is from auto perspective. So this is, we have seen that price rise from 92 of certain commodity metal prices. So these commodity metal prices, out of this total graph, you can see over here, it has been increasing, and there is a certain reduction also. For example, you can see over here, May 08, it was highest peak, then again 11, then subsequently it has been reduced, and currently where it is. So one cost sheets I would like to present over here, which I have prepared based on the historic data of actual raw material cost. So there are 3 rows. First row is raw material prices. Average 9 commodities. I have considered actual received raw material of 9 critical commodities, say steel, pig iron, certain alloying agents, and certain resin polymers. So because of some confidentiality, I cannot put direct price over here. So one is a say in F08, I consider whatever price was that index is 1, it has rose to 1.59 over a period of time after 13 years. Okay, so if you see CAGR over here is 3.36% for 14 years. So right from 0 years to 30th year. So total 14 years, that CAGR for raw material comes to 3.36 times, which has been increased. If I consider, sorry, not 3.36 times, 3.36%. If I consider the index value in F081, which has gone to December 20 in current what we are discussing on the price, which has gone to 1.59. This is historical and actual data. If I consider that casting price, which has been supplied by our vendors, few of the vendors I have same parts I have considered as an average price. If I am getting that one casting per kg in F08, say it has index is 1, say 70 rupees per kg, which has gone to 1.56 time in December 20, and the CAGR is 3.23. Now coming to this third row, which is the automobile price. I have taken one example of Maruti 800 versus it is a Maruti 800 basically, because it has been phased out and now it has been relaunched as a Maruti Alto. Of course, there are certain various additions are over there, like horsepowers and torque and their gear system and all. So if I consider Maruti in 1983 was 47,000, which is the price index is 1, which has gone to 2.21 in December 20, if I consider for 14 years, and total 6.28 times for compare with 1983, since last 37th years. Why I'm showing this particular statistic based on that historical data is, if you see the last column, inflation rate is a different inflation rate at respective years. The average inflation per year is 6.90. And however, again that 6.90, the CAGR, if you see for raw material, which has 3.36, for casting, which is 3.23, which is in line with that raw material prices, because it's a largely depending on that input cost, which is driving the casting cost. And for vehicle like Maruti, which is a 5.08. What I would like to conclude from this is, though that inflation is 6.90, the same cost has not been passed on by the either raw material or casting producer to the consumer, because they need to also absorb the cost with various parameters, like they are improving the lean practices, continual improvement, and all those kind of things. So, and which has been, instead of 6.90 inflation, it has been passed on to around 3.36 and 3.23 subsequently. So these are the certain statistic. What I want to say from these are, like, though that inflation is high because of all those parameters, not only raw material, there are other factors also, like energy cost, fuel cost, labor cost, transportation cost, and various other factors. So now from automobile perspective, so we all know that, as I explained, the total vehicle that most of the price is occupied by metal. Now for automobile, whether to absorb this cost or it is to be passed on to the consumer, the choice is not only with the automobile. They need to also see the movement of other players, other competitors. And if you see over here that most of the auto majors have been declared the price hike in the month of January, just to pass on this price escalation to the consumer. And it is not something about entire price they will pass on to the consumer. Most of the price they need to absorb within by improving their lean practices. I can give one example of Mahindra during this period. There are certain measures, like we have done that restructuring. We have observed that lot of initiatives in terms of cost reduction, in terms of all those labor, blue collar as well as white collar expenses have been curtailed, inventories has been curtailed. So there are many measures, and despite of that, because of this cost increase, we need to take certain measure to pass on it to the consumer also. So from auto perspective, since last 2 years, we are facing many challenges. Starting with F20, our volumes were, if you see our the entire auto measures, the volumes compared with that F19, the volumes are comparatively lower in F20, around 18 to 20%. So that was one challenge we faced because of that fuel price increase and other parameters. So despite of that, there was a migration from BS4 to BS6, which has given us another challenge to increase challenge on that cost increase, which has increased in the range of 15 to 20%, that BS6 itself. And the same time, as soon as we migrated to the BS6 at the same pace that pandemic has started, and as Mr. Gulab has rightly mentioned, that labor cost, because of that various measures, labor cost has gone up, our transportation cost has gone up. So that is another challenge because of that pandemic. And now that new challenges of raw material. So these many challenges, these 4 major challenges has encountered by every auto major, which they need to work on, and some part of that cost increase, they can pass it on to the consumer. My point over here is, the only thing I can say, I will skip this slide because these are a duplication. So the overall in nutshell, certain suggestions from auto major I would like to say is, so why can't we have a clean data sheet by the foundries? Because we as an auto major, we also have our own foundry. We are also having the similar challenges on casting front as well as from customer front as a automobile. So clean data sheet with index price, definitely it will be a good win-win situation and solution. Then one more point I would like to say, as Mr. Jaideep has mentioned, that hedge and speculation, definitely we need to work very seriously into this, because in industry, iron ore are already been hedged and speculated, which can give us some kind of a relief of such impulsive kind of a price rise, because it is very difficult for the foundries to convince or negotiate to the customer or major giants like automobile and get that price rise on month-on-month basis, because they also have a limitation to give the price rise, because they need to convince most of the stakeholders to whether to absorb it or whether to pass it on to the consumers. So such kind of a measures, like 2 measures are like hedge and speculation, I would say, is one of the major things we need to work. And second thing is a clean data sheet with induction system. So these are the 2 inputs I would like to give from my side, from auto major perspective. Thank you all.
Thank you, Amar. Thank you very much. And
so I need to come out from this presentation,
yes,
right?
sir.
Yeah,
Yes.
one sec. I'll try. I'll give you 1 minute. How can I do stop share?
Thank you.
Is it okay now? Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Now I request Mr. Yash Singh from Mumbai to start his talk. Yes, ji.
Hello, good evening. Hello, good
Yeah,
evening,
good evening, sir.
everyone. My name.
Good evening.
My name is Yash.
Can you increase your voice
from
little bit?
Mumbai. Our company is called. Is it better now?
Little
Is it
bit.
better?
Yeah.
One second. I'll just remove the speaker then. Just one. Is it better now? Sandeep ji, is
Absolutely
it?
fine. Yeah.
So I'm from Grey Group of companies in Mumbai. We do a lot of non-ferrous castings as well as a lot of steel and stainless steel castings. So it will be slightly different from the experiences which has been shared before. But I would like to say one thing, that I wouldn't want to reiterate on the points which has been shared before. the underlying skeleton remains the same irrespective of the alloys which we melt. For our industry, I'll just like to keep it very brief. The stainless steel prices has although increased quite a bit. Say just 3 months ago, SS304 price was around 110 rupees. Right now, it's around 135 to 130 rupees per kg. But more than that, the availability of stainless steel scrap is a very big issue. Same goes for copper, which was 495 3 months ago, has now shot up to 600 rupees per kg in certain areas. So availability along with the price is although being the major issue. One thing which we have realized, although it's I would say it's wishful thinking, is that we would like to have some kind of unison also, because a lot of times when the prices increase, our customers pinpoint at the other players who are there in the industry who agree to absorb the prices. And I again, it's individual way of running a business, but that leads like to a precedent wherein our working capital gets stuck, and there are other issues also which arise along with that. So along with the margins and everything, the major issue with this is that we need to obviously forming some kind of body in terms of IAF or something like what Sandeep ji is doing with DFG. A lot of us are on the same level. We understand how other players are pitching in, how the other foundry owners are pitching in, but still there has to be some kind of uniformity. I'll just give a small example how when the scrap prices increase, strictly speaking in terms of stainless steel, a supplier, a scrap trader, even if he is bought before the increase in the price, he will end up saying that no, the prices have increased because the index has gone up, be it LME or MMR, whatever they're following. Irrespective, vice versa, when the price reduces, they end up telling us that they have bought it before the increment, and we end up absorbing that cost a lot of times. So there is some kind of unison there, which we have to maintain in our industry as well. Various bodies with like DFG and IF obviously are putting in a lot of efforts, but there is some kind of communication which has to be spread across through big and small foundries. I'll give you a very small example again. We do quite a bit of investment casting. Zircon right now, which is a main raw material key ingredient for investment casting, is not available right now. There is only one producer, one major producer, Indian Rare Earth. And irrespective of whether a commodity which was costing 130 rupees, even if you're willing to pay 200 rupees per kg, it's not available. So in that scenario, government is also some place which our industry body should lobby with. And we as a union, we as a unison, sorry, not union, could also come together and speak to them. Like Jaideep ji rightly mentioned in his first slide, I was going to speak about that. There is a need of index. There are a couple of few magazines and a few publications which we follow, but again, that is like I have rightly experienced in the past, very easy to manipulate, and also is not the fair reflection of what's happening. In our case, stainless steel suppliers, they generally refer to LME for nickel prices and everything. However, it's not a clear reflection because a lot happens when the import costs go up, the tariffs go up. So there is, in fact, a dying need for indexing to be in place. And in my previous presentation, I was just listening that a lot of cost can be brought down by quality control and lean management and other practices. That's something which I have been speaking to a couple of foundry mentors which I have. But I personally believe that that is the owners, that is the responsibility which should be left on the foundry owner or the foundry management, whether they want to pass on that benefit or not, because that has been done because of their own what do you say, efforts and the challenges which they have seen for the last 4 to 5 years. So I'll keep it again very short and brief. My only request, humble request on this platform would be if there could be some kind of clear communication amongst the foundry owners. Setting in MRP would again be a very wishful thinking, and it's not practically possible also. But some kind of unison that wherein we increase the rates, we could all do it all together, and it has been happening. It has been happening in plastic industry. Major customers from India like IKEA and Walmart, who used to buy a lot of their plastic products. If you go to this area called Daman, Kachidam, where a lot of plastic factories are there, they have all together increased their rates. So any kind of arm twisting specifically for jobbing foundries like us wouldn't be possible if you all can get together and there could be some kind of clear communication across this platform. That's all from my side. Thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you, Yash. Thank you. Thank you, Yash. And now we turn to our next panelist, Mrs. Ruma Kinarila Rao from Palm Alloy Steel Private Limited, Mumbai. Ruma ji.
Yeah, hope I'm audible.
Yes, please.
Okay,
go ahead.
yeah. Good evening, everybody. I'm Ruma Kinariwala Rao from Palm Alloy Steel Private Limited. We are the manufacturer of carbon steel, stainless steel, and the high-grade steel castings based in Mumbai. And first of all, I would like to thank Sandeep ji for giving us an opportunity to speak on this very hot topic about the increase in the raw material prices. Many of our experts have spoken about many insights about the problems faced, about the challenges, and many others. So I wouldn't like to touch more about that. But there are main thing like what Yash was talking about, unity. Yeah, he perfectly told right. There should be a unity among the foundries. Like if the price, as we are dealing with, especially with the stainless steel castings, what are the prices? Everybody knows what are the raw material prices. It's there. So there should be unity among the foundries. They should adhere to the prices to the customer, because like that can be like what customers like, which as we are focusing on the heat treatment plants, like what prices we are giving to one company, that can be the same foundry must be giving to the same customers. So at least there should be adhering to the prices. There should be the uniformity among the prices. That can be plus or minus 5 to 10 rupees, but not more than that. So that is one most important point, that's among the unity among the foundries. Then second point which I would like to cover is like we are especially dealing with SS316 grade. So there is always a changes in the price in this span of like 10 days. There is a changes in the prices among the suppliers. So why not IF or other DFG and other groups? They can promote the MSME, and with their help, we can form a clusters and we can go for the negotiation among the suppliers. Because we have seen like one supplier is quoting around like 160 rupees, one supplier is quoting 170, or one supplier is quoting 185. So there is a lot of changes in the prices among the suppliers, and that is also affecting the foundry as well as the customers. So besides the raw material prices increasing, the main shortage is the availability. So there is one cluster, they do have the raw material, but they don't want to give it to us right now. So there can be some kind of cluster which can be formed, so that can be really useful to each and every foundries. Then also I can say in this particular tough time, there should be small collaboration, or there should be some kind of unity, or that should be some kind of help. One foundry can help each other. If particular foundry has n number of stock, and as per the order book position presently it's not so much required, it can be passed on to other foundries. So that can be useful if all the foundries can come together. Then I can also speak about what kind of value added service. Like we, not only the raw material prices have increased, but there are many other prices like the energy cost, the fuel cost, the other foundry fluxes, chemicals, everything is increases. So we can work on the value added services. We can tell our customers, we need to be transparent to our customers. We need to tell our customers that these are the exact costs which are increasing, which everybody knows about it, but they also have the budget. They keep on telling कि हमारा इतना ही budget है, हम इससे ज़्यादा नहीं increase कर सकते. But if we are more transparent, if we give them the right schedule and the right costings, so that can be the chances like the customers may also increase the prices. Though it's really difficult, especially it's really difficult with the big customers. With the small customers, with the medium size or the small size customers, we can do negotiate with them, but it becomes really difficult with the big size customers. So these are few of the points. So to just sum up, it's like the unity is really important among the foundries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ruma. Thank you very much for your nice talk. Now we go to next panelist, Mr. Adarsh Jaiswal from Matrix Iron Foundry, Howrah, West Bengal. Welcome, Adarsh.
Thank you, Sandeep ji.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Good evening, everybody.
Yes, good evening.
Myself, Adarsh Jaiswal from Matrix Iron Foundry. And Matrix Iron Foundry is a ferrous foundry setup located in eastern part of India, Howrah, West Bengal. We manufacture castings like manhole covers and pumps and valves with over 50 years of legacy attached to it. And if you see this slide, you can see the price value, which may be different throughout India, but the trend you find will be the same throughout India. And if you see the slide properly, then you find that there is an increase of some rupees, and then suddenly there is some corrections. So it is not always a big jump or a big hike, and big hike is always followed by some corrections, and then again there is some hike. So it is always plus and then some minus, then again plus. Next slide, please. And the concerns are that global iron ore prices has increased from $70 a ton in 2018 to 150 a ton in 2020. So this shows that the global iron ore prices are increasing, and the trend will keep on increasing as per the index. And revival of demand in China, along with COVID-induced supply disruptions in Brazil and South Africa mines, so global iron prices will stay elevated. As price increases, margin of profit decreases. This is also one of the concern, and sales decreases immediately after there is price hike. In our case, we have seen that just before the price hike, the buyers get the message and they lift all the material, even the dead stock, it gets lifted. So just after the price hikes, there's less of sales. Inflation exists in almost all the products. That is to be seen, like it's not only in castings or cast iron, it is also in plastics, stainless steel, everything, ferroalloys. Next slide, please. Corrective measures have been taken by the union government. There's possibility for steel prices to drop around 20% from current levels, as the government is likely to ease the supply of iron ore and lower the duty on steel imports. This could bring down costs and put pressure on surging steel. Federation of Indian Minerals Industry said that there was no need to ban iron ore exports, as in future, steel will be produced throughout recycling. Reduce your cost, become more efficient by following the best practices and use of use of your lean and then renewable energy like windmill and solar power in your foundry, which will help you to reduce your electricity cost, because foundry is very much energy intensive. Move up in value chain from as cast to machining and more value added. This will save you. Robust and real-time metal and power index to be followed on regular basis, which will help you in your buying and your purchase and other things. Thank you, Sandeep ji. This is all I have to say.
Now I request Mr. Prayut Banawat from Mangalam Steel Cast Private Limited, Baroda, to start his talk.
Good evening, all. Thank you, Sandeep ji.
Good evening.
Myself, Prayut Banawat. I am director in Mangalam Steel Cast Private Limited in Vadodara, which is a ferrous casting foundry of jobbing type, and I'm also director in CNI Engineering Private Limited in Indore, from where we are supplying to Indian Railways. Now, today for this talk, I will be mainly focusing on jobbing type foundry industries and how we have taken up the rate increment with our customers, which is almost same as others have mentioned here, but with the quantum and variety of customer is more. So basically, we are having a customer base of around 200 odd numbers all over India, and we have to deal individually with almost all in this matter. But over here, I will talk in very layman language. So unlike in automotive industries or bulk manufacturing industries, in jobbing foundry, normally we don't have a concept of price indicing or formulation with the customer because of many reasons, like there is no uniformity in the shape, size, type of castings, the quantity of castings, and grade do vary, process is different. So it is rather price on per kg basis based on the grade, and if machining is involved, then price would be on a per piece basis. Now this system has certain advantage and disadvantage also. Like major advantage is that the customer will not get involved in our costing part directly. He will not sit here with us and ask for costing breakup. But on the counter side, our major disadvantage is that it is like a vegetable market. वो 4 दुकान पे जाके रेट पूछेगा और जहां lowest आया वहां पे order place कर दिया, irrespective of the foundry condition, its capability or any facilities. So foundry having best facilities has to compete with the foundry having no facilities. Now, normally in such jobbing type foundry, we normally have a small term orders like which can be delivered within 15 to or 30-45 days, and it is closed. And there are some long term orders too in which the monthly deliverable quantity is less. It's like an open PO, एक rate fix करके उनको एक month basis पे देते जाना है. For short-term POs, we have a regular customers, like they will keep our pattern in our, so they keep their pattern in our premises, and when there is a requirement of the quantity, they will place the order on the last rate basis. And there are some irregular customers also. You can say it like Eid ka Chand. They will come once in a while, the last rate, confirm it with 3-4 other places, and if rate found okay, then they will place the PO. Now, with respect to rate increment thing, it is very simple process with the irregular customers because they are coming in once in a while, or when they come with a certain inquiries, we give them the current rates, without any explanation or anything with rate revision, because he's anyways coming after a long time and he is on a shopping mode, so he will ask 2-3 other places too, and where he will hopefully find the similar trend, like the rate has been revised. But on long-term PO and for regular customer, it is a bit difficult and challenging. So how we approach is we at first send out a mail. We give them like a timeline, like after 10 days, like for the old PO, we will have to commit with what we have committed. But anything coming later, that mail will be with the revised pricing, and we will give the explanation and the present, giving the figures, justifying the cost increase, and we'll send out the mail, and then the real negotiation process starts. But recently, when we sent out this mail, we have observed that many have requested to design a formula on which the rates can be fixed, like what we were talking so far, so that we don't have to go undergo this process again and again. And this is especially with those who have they have placed the order for the long term or kind of open PO. Now, we respect that formulation part, but the problem is that they will start considering the November rates for the negotiation, where the main issues lies. And then we again have to remind that like, ye rate apanne tab fix kiya tha when there was a down in the market and you asked us to reduce by rupee or 2 rupees. And so we have to take that baseline. So main thing is customer at their end will try their best to keep the difference low, but we have to accept what we can. Over here, your relationship with the customer will come into play, how comfortable he's dealing with you and how trustworthy you are for him. Now, some do accept this situation, and with little bit negotiation will agree to the revised rate, but those are really very few. Others may reduce their quantity with their open POs for monthly requirement, or may shift to somewhere else, as my neighbor has still not changed the price and he's ready to suffer. Now, the important point is how much increment can you convince with the customer so that he does not shift his order. No doubt, everyone will ask for increment because everyone knows about this present scenario and customer has to give it. But right now, matter is how much and what capacity you have in asking for the increment. Under this case, I would say that ask for increment for that value which your quality allows. look at what quality you are making, what are essential raw materials for the same, calculate the usage of the same, and consider the increment of cost due to that material and ask for it. Whatever we have built so far is based on the quality we have provided to our customer. And you can't compromise the same as you are shying away for the asking for increment, or you think the customer may not agree for it. If you have built up your reputation, then the customer will understand till the time you are able to justify the increment. If there is a small drop of raw material prices, customer don't shy away for the rate reduction. So we also need to stand up in the rates if the rates are increased. After all, we are not running any charitable organization, and we also want to grow and want to upgrade the foundry for which the sustainable profit is required. If you are supplying the quality and timely delivery to your customer, he will fight for his rate, but won't leave you. You can come down on your rate, still your quality permits, but it should not happen that because the finalized rate is too low to survive, you start looking for alternate less costly raw material and in turn affecting your quality. It is better to not to supply the material rather than supplying something inferior material. So obviously it is rather easy to say than to implement it. We will also probably lose some orders due to it, but at least we are satisfied with what we are supplying and what the rates we are getting it. And I just wanted to pass on this message to this platform. Like, I hope that all the foundrymen think on the same line and stand up for their own organizations, making a win-win situation for all. Otherwise, he will also suffer, and we will make others also suffer. And that's all from me. And I did not want to offend any buyer or seller here. Just wanted to put my opinion for survival for all. Thank you, Dhananjay.
Thank you, Priyot. Thank you very much. It's a nice talk, and it's a different than all of the other panelists. That consistency in the quality is to be maintained irrespective of the cost. It's very good thought and has to be implemented. Thank you. Thank you, Priyot. Our next panelist is Mr. Nagesh Dumap, Director, Scheppenberg Industries GmbH. So welcome, Nagesh.
Yeah, good evening, Sandeep.
Good evening. Good
am
evening.
I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, good evening, everyone. So what we are going to discuss here is majorly 3 points. First, we will take a short overview what is the current situation. Basically, that will contain raw material and other concerns also, which we are saying. What I would like to do is I would like to share our methodology of how we are dealing the price. It's not only when the prices are heavily jumping, it's also when in a normal mode, how I am tackling this. And then I would like to share with you that what we say next, how the situation will turn in next coming days, say what are our visions or forecasts for next quarter or next half year and next 1 year. And then we would also discuss probable short-term and probable long-term solutions. But all this is towards my business area, that is non-automotive segment. Next slide, Sandeep, please. Okay, so what we have discussed is many of the speakers have given what type of raw material has increased, what percentage has increased. So I am not going in those details, but it's not only raw material. Please understand the current situation of overall business, not only for castings, as many speakers have said, it's for forging, it's for machine components, it's for plastics, rubbers, and definitely all the commodities which are being used by OEM definitely are going to affect. And basically, it's not only about the raw material. What we see is the cost and availability of the transport. When I'm saying transport, it's not the only local transport which are talking within India, it's also the global transports. If you see some of the indices of the global transport, it has shooted up like anything. Then it becomes my next concern is availability of the products. As Yash has also rightly said, that availability of a specific raw material is very scary nowadays. So same way, availability of fine grain steel, availability of welding consumables, availability of special foundry consumables, we are seeing that as a potential challenge in coming days. Now, one of the major problem which we could see in next quarter only, not for the longer period, is upscaling the order. Means what I would do is, as a buyer, rather than putting 100 numbers as an order, I will put 200 or 150 numbers in the market, so that okay, I will get at least 100 numbers. So that is also potential risk which we are seeing in coming days. Now, poor supply chain contracts visibility. Okay, automotives are working on a different model, but non-automotive player specifically, we are working on a contractual basis. Like, okay, we are fixing or we are ordering 6 months or 4 months upfront. So those types of contract visibility we are seeing very poor. And that is going to be the trend. And these factors are more costly. Raw material prices, the raw material pricing increase that most of the foundry months will get, definitely, because believe me, all the OEMs knows this, all the OEMs are facing this concern. So nobody is going to say you that I am not going to give you price revision. They are going to give you price revision, but the concerns which I am talking is not only affecting them, it's equally affecting producers. Okay, now what is happening around the world, please understand, everyone is cooking with water and oil. There is no one which is out of these scary scrap revisions or immediate jump in the scrap prices or immediate jump in the, I will not say scrap, it's a raw material basically. So more or less it's happening all over the world. As far as European Union is concerned, the scrap prices is definitely increased. It has not increased. CIF has not increased their price index till type. But what has happening is their foundries are right from the quotation period, the index is moving on. So the price revisions are very easy and the negotiations are not on a scale like what we do typically in India. So the negotiations happens more or less automatically, that the orders, the purchase orders itself flow with the price index as well as energy index. That is most of the OEMs are operating. Like if German foundry gets an order, he gets the order of his base price. He gets the second line of the order is his scrap surcharge, what we call. And third line is most of the time it's energy surcharge. And then it comes the total price. So purchase order itself is having these types of points. So negotiations, discussions over the price is very less in Europe. As far as Turkey, which is our second market, which I see very closely, there is a double trouble. Please understand, all the Turkish players, they buy their raw material not in their local currency. As we do in India, most of the time we are buying scrap or we are buying foundry raw materials in INR. They have to buy it in US dollar. That is somehow their tendency. And now, as you know, that lira is weakening. Only December has seen a good recovery, but that is again, you can say a double trouble to them. The local transport, which was advantage of Turkey over India, like when I say export to European Union, Turkish people were having an advantage of transport costs, but that has recently worsened. To be honest, the prices have gone up to 0.7 euro per kg from 0.35. So there is a 100% jump. Bigger foundries in Turkey, they work same on European Union foundry basis, like they will have the raw material indexes. So there will be not so much discussion in big players, but small and medium players will face the similar problems like we are facing in India. Ease of working, similarly, they are also facing problems like frequent lockdowns are there, travel restrictions are there, then upscaling, like people, labor availability, same issues are there. As far as China is concerned, to be very open with you, due to this year end, everyone knows they have not opened their cards. Till time, we have not received any negotiation, discussion, email for any price revision. But I am sure once the second week of Jan comes, these discussions will start. Steel prices for local Chinese producer will increase because Chinese mill would push the steels towards the European products as the European steel production has not scaled up. Transport costs are already making a huge impact. Everyone knows the containers stuck in Chinese ports. So that is also impacting them. So once the container costs comes down or transport costs come down, suppliers from China will come up for a price revision. Sandeep, next slide, please. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you how we make a price revision or how we do it. See, the price revision is what we are doing is we are making it a quarterly basis. The price is fixed at the time of RFQ. Like if you quote me 100 INR, okay, we say 100 INR is your price. Now, please tell me what ingredients you would like to add. So the basis we are keeping as MMR. For outside suppliers, we are keeping LME or CIF. The last price we are taking from MMR. We are not taking average. Why? Because we say that once a purchase order is received, you are going to purchase it based on that purchase price. So that is somehow helping our suppliers and they are happy on that. Within a quarter, if suppose there are some fluctuations within a quarter, we have seen it in 2016, somehow the prices within the quarters were changed. So our price contracts have that that consideration that within a quarter if the prices changes plus or minus, we are giving adjusting the price. Now here supplier are free to choose their inputs. As a foundry, what you would like to choose in the price sheet? If you would like to choose sand, please select it. Ferrosilicon, magnesium, whatever you would like to add, you can add in the price sheet. The only request is the index should be third party. We are not going ahead with our price. We have a price bank, what we call it. Typically, wherein we have our prices, but we also go from third party. Like you can select MMR or any third party. As I have shown here, it is an example of a steel casting, wherein you can see what we have done is we are grouping also the products. Like here we have grouped 34 CRMO4 as a one group, and then 18NI MOCR3 as a second group. So this type of price sheets we are fluctuating. Once the price sheet is made for a few days, the top management is involved, and after that, this system becomes so easy that it is handled by operational. Ductile iron, yes, most of the time people are choosing CRCA or they are putting combination of CRCA plus pig iron. We tried to put the alloying element, but after some time, people themselves they say, okay, it doesn't make sense, leave it. For steel casting, as I said, we put whatever grade-wise details are there. Like if I would like to have a nickel as a contributor, definitely I have to put. And in the example, you can see the price per kg was increased by some around 10 rupees only for these alloying basis, and CRCA 1.6. So some around 12 rupees increase he has got in this last quarter only because of this. Because this works on MMR basis. Now, what is our general experience in last 6-7 years? Is yes, within a quarter or within a short time, you will feel up and down at one side. Someone loses, someone gains. But over the period of say 5-6 years relationships with the suppliers, we have seen that they are also happy with that. We are also happy with that. There is no noise. So it is somehow win-win situation for both of us. I would like to go to next slide, Sandeep, please. Okay, so what we see next is some factors which are going to affect for some of the time period, like say 3 months, 6 months. First of all, understand the steel mills have not completely ramped up. The productions are not still on a full scale. It's not so easy to close it down and ramp up. So the availability will be an issue. Even the availability is good, these people will try to cover up their ramp up cost. So the prices will be on a higher. Transport will be there. What we see is as everyone is putting up this container availability and transport, so government will typically act little bit in here. It's in their control. So this transport I am seeing between 1 or 2 months, we will see ease of this transport cost. So demands, definitely those will be on a higher note. Sometimes over demand, as I've seen, those will be put in the market. Then in second week of Jan, definitely there will be some magical tricks going in case of raw material. The policies will be different. The policies regarding exporting the casting will be different. Policies regarding exporting the raw material, that will be different. So somehow this jugglery I will see from the Chinese market. COVID, still we are not completely out. Say whatever you want. Okay, there are some industries are running, but industries are not full scale. The projects are not coming up with the old trend or old scale. So definitely that will also eat up the first half of 2021. Now, and again, there will be group or lobbies which will definitely affect the local market. The lobbyist of scrap, lobbyist of raw material, as Yash was also saying that he is not getting the material even though he is ready to pay twice. So these types of things will definitely happen. Reshoring strategy, which were there, okay, let's manufacture everything inside, that will be put on the delay. So due to some concern, people would like to have multiple options. Okay, I have a valid source in India, I have valid source in China, or I have valid source in Turkey, valid source in US. So these types of flexibility people would like to keep. Okay, what I would like to conclude as a short-term action, first I would like to say everyone ask for a price revision. Everyone knows price has to be revised. So don't get shy. Don't say, okay, shall I ask? Shall my business go? Ifs, buts, don't think on that. Just go and ask for the price revision. Put the facts rather than assumption and emotions. Don't put, okay, my this has increased, that has increased. No. If you have a contract, like, okay, if you have a price revision sheets, go according to that. Even though there is even though there is something beyond the price revision sheet, like for the forging companies, I have to do it now. For the forging people, we have to act separately because, okay, raw material prices are there, but still there are some additional costs which we have to consider for at least next 6 months. So post those types of things, and most of the time people understand it. So, and the third point which I would like to keep here or highlight here for foundry people is, don't make a decision based on the part basis. Like, if suppose a customer is with you for 10 parts, and if you are suffering in one part, do not consider that one part. Consider the complete basket of that customer. Because you guys have to understand that foundry or casting is not such a component category which can be relocated immediately. Okay, if there are some simple turn parts or even stamping parts, I can relocate immediately. But casting is such a commodity, people are not trying to relocate immediately. Long-term actions, definitely, these we are talking since I think so many days, so many years, that diversification has to be there. Don't cry on only one type of industry. Economics of foundry, that is one of the aspects which foundries has to learn. Definitely, you should be clear with your dates, facts, and figures, as we have seen in case of Mahindras, like Mr. Amar Patil has shown. So they have their 9 ingredients, and they are tracking since last 14 years. So if you ask them what has moved where, it's very clear to them. So those types of information you should have for your own foundry handy. Then I would recommend, like, use any software, ERP systems, or some systems which will lead your decision based on the facts and not what you assume. Like facts of your production price, fact of your landed raw material cost. Like, we calculate total cost of ownership, foundry should also calculate the total landed cost of the raw material. That what cost I am getting the raw material, what yield I am getting. Those types of things will definitely help you. So this was from my side, and I would like to end my small talk on this topic.
Thank you, Nagesh. Thank you very much for your nice insights on this topic.
Thank you, everyone.
Now I request Mr. M.R. Shah, editor of Foundry Magazine, Ahmedabad, to share his experience and guide us on this topic, as this Foundry Magazine also contributes to the indexing and of raw material. So we can get some good input from him as well. So Mr. M.R. Shah.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yes, please. Yeah. First of all, I thank you and all members of this group for such a wonderful, widespread discussion on this subject. The group formation itself was so imaginatively done that all different sectors and all different business sectors were already covered in this. Now, I have a couple of my observations to add. Number one, the peak what we have seen here in the prices, similar peaks we had seen at the regular interval in past, and after those peaks, the prices have dropped. Hello, yeah. Is my voice coming?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please. After those peaks, the prices have dropped, but they have gone to next higher level. After 5 years, once again a peak, prices drop within 2, 3, 4 months, and then it goes to next higher level. So in that way, the way Mr. Amar Patilji has shown is 10 years of graph of CAGR increase in different prices. That is something very valuable to all of us. That is one part. Number two, one more point what I want to add is, as a foundry industry, at least 3 or 4 leading foundries in India, they should check profitability of their operations of last 10 years or maybe 15 years and the profitability of their customers during the same period. If you find that the average profitability of foundry is lower than the profitability of the customer, then that will be a good tool for all of us to convince the customer industries that, look here, with weak foundries, you will not be able to develop your new products. You will not be able to compete in the world. The foundry industry has got to be strong, has got to be advanced. They need investment. For this, they need profit also. So that will be silently, we have to go to that level. So every now and then, every 5 years or so, we do not come into this panic situation. That is one part. Now, one more part is, why are we all afraid that when my price hike will be going there, after 1 or 2 months, the schedule will drop? That means there are suppliers to our customers who are able to sell at lower price. So the schedule to him goes up and schedule to me drops down. How can this be avoided? It can be avoided by one means, how do we weed out competition from unequal units? See, certain foundries have very nice systematic quality control facilities, and they work with low wastage. But there are numerous other foundries which have poor quality, and because of their overheads are low, and then they are able to sell at a lower price, perhaps not knowing that they are offering at a loss. But so long as they exist, they create a pressure on these foundries not to raise their prices. How do we come out of this situation? The industry has to think in long term, and that debate must begin. One more thing, ask for price rise is very rightly told Mr. Nagesh Dummaji, that if you ask for price rise for the timing to come over the present situation, it is going to be easy, because the automotive industry or any other industries, they all are facing the price rise of steel products. They know precisely what is happening. So knowing our problem is not difficult for them. It is only question is how and how long they try to support us, or they try to suppress us up to some extent. And the one thing I could also learn was the German system of casting prices. What briefly Mr. Dumma told, I think we might benefit from that kind of system to put the raw material prices, the metallics prices, and the energy prices as an indexing. And with that, the things can certainly become easier. The last thing about I would like to say is, we need to have a group of people, maybe 5, 6, 7, from the industry at senior level. One or two from them should be from the casting user industry, and the rest from the foundries, who can monitor those things regularly and who can give their wise guidance to foundries, every 3, 4, or 5 months, and that can work something the long-term growth interest of the industry. This is all what I need to say at this time. I learned a lot listening to others. Thank you, Sandeep ji.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your nice inputs. And now we move to our last panelist of today's, Mr. Amish Panchalji, past IF President and Partner Castwell Foundries, Ahmedabad. So welcome, Amish.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Sandeep.
Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah. It's been almost 2 hours. People are waiting to go and enjoy the Sunday with their family. This is the last weekend of 2020. What a remarkable year. So I will not take much of a time. I'll just put out 5-6 points. Most of them are covered by the other people, so I'm trying to avoid that. I'm associated in the various association for last 10 to 15 years quite actively, and I've seen that if such situation arises, we wake up from our slumber, have this kind of meetings or seminar, and all this brainstorming and everything is going on. But when we get 3 to 4 rupees or 2 to 5 rupees price increase from the customers, we again move to our comfort zone and forget everything. My work is done, my temporary solution is there, let us forget everything. Now my foundry is running. That is what I'm observing since last 10 to 15 years. Second good thing is none of the panelists have asked for the government support, because we should not expect anything from the government. For this topic, I was just going through various other industry, how they are coping with the price increase. And to my surprise, at least 3 other industry like plastic, chemical, and one more, I've forgotten the name. They have also demanded the similar thing what as a foundry industry we have demanded from the government. Ease of the import of the raw materials, ban the exports, or whatever, have some price controlling mechanism or regulatory body. So each and every industry, I think most of the industries are facing this heat. So government is not going to do anything or going to come forward and support you. We have to work on our own. In Gujarati, it is said, "Ke mangya vagar mai na pirse." It is like your own mother will not serve a food in your thali if you don't ask for. So foundry industry and foundry men need to develop a courage to ask a price increase from their customers. And I have seen that people are shying, particularly the smaller foundries or medium-sized foundries who are not working with indexing or rightly mentioned by Prayut. Those who are having 200 customers or 100 customers, they shy in asking the price increase. So we have to learn demanding the price increase from the customers. Fourth point, I would like to point out that when the price increase or sharp increase is there, then we demand from the customer. We have to make it a regular practice, whether it's an increase or decrease. There should be some frequency, whether it's a 50 paisa increase or 25 paisa increase. Industry has to develop a mechanism, and this price increase or price revision should be on periodic basis. So customer's mindset also gets changed, and they also know that, okay, we have to work in this direction, whether it's increase or decrease, we have to give to the foundry man. My fifth point is evaluate the customers, because many of the foundries, particularly small and medium-sized foundries, they like what typical example is Prayut or Ruma or Yash, where they are working. Many of the customers will not agree for the price increase, or they will delay. So in such situation, foundries should have a dedicated person. It is worthwhile to have a dedicated person who can make an analysis of customer-wise profitability as well as the product-wise profitability. And if customer is not giving the price revision as per your expectation, or delaying the price negotiation, you should have courage, or you should have knowledge that, okay, this customer I'm losing, or in this particular product I'm losing from this customer, or as Nagesh mentioned, my overall basket from this customer is profitable, then I will continue with this customer. So that kind of awareness should be there with the foundry, and this can be done with a very ordinary BCom fellow. You have to just give him a format and he can do it on a regular basis. I think that is a worthwhile exercise. Sixth point is competition versus collaboration, because when such situation arises, we all discuss about indexing and pricing formula, price revision formula and something, and expect associations to help or government to help. But let me be very blunt, no one is going to come and help you. What we expect, we don't want to have a labor pain or pain of raising a child to adulthood. We all want a son who is having 23-year-old and start earning us the money. But we have to take that pain. what I suggest that you all must be knowing that okay, for this customer, 4 or 5 are my other competitors. Who are they? Have a rapport. You are not competitor. You have to have a collaboration with them. I'm not talking about the rigging or fixing the price, but at least you should be on talking terms with your key competitors to the same customer, and you have to demand the price increase on the similar level. Because someone mentioned that if like Ruma mentioned that someone is, or Yash mentioned that someone is quoting 170 rupees, someone is quoting 185 rupees, someone is quoting 190 rupees. So whatever you are demanding, it should be within plus or minus 5% or something like that. Then customer will also realize, okay, this is the real impact and I have to take it seriously and give to the foundry man. So first thing should be, you have to form a collaborative unit, collaboration with your competitors, because no amount of load is going to offset, or no amount of 5S or efficiency improvement is going to offset such a steep price increase. Whatever you will do, it will help maybe 1% or 2%. It is not going to offset 30% price increase. So if you keep on supplying, तो आज उसकी बारी है, कल तुम्हारी बारी भी आने वाली है. You have to consider. Don't look for a short-term gain of the load or something. Coming to the index, I feel, based on my experience, there should be 4 or 5, at least 5 indexes should be developed by the industry, and particularly by the foundrymen. One should be the metallics, which I think most of the seasoned foundries or auto suppliers are using that. Other should be the other raw material like ferroalloys, chemicals, and other minor items kind of thing. Third should be the electricity. Fourth can be a labor, which if we want to keep it a separate index, then we can have it on labor, and maybe labor and other overheads. So depending on your terms with the customers, what Nagesh has shown that sheet, which is very excellent. Depending on your terms with the customers, or depending on the complexity of the item, you can have price fixation considering 1 index, 2 index, or 3 index with the customer. So which will help you in revision, price revision, or which will have a transparent kind of thing. That's all from my side. I offer myself, and I think Sandeep and Nagesh also will be ready in that. We can help in coordination if foundrymen come forward in forming that indexes or some kind of a small group. At least I can contribute maybe 2 to 3 hours a week for this cause, if industry requires that. Jain Saab in beginning said that when I was a president, I tried, but I could not succeed in that. But certainly we can give one more trial, and we can come forward and help the industry to have certain level maybe. Thank you. That's all from my side, Sandeep.
Thank you, Amish. Thank you very much. And as you rightly say, we are always there for the betterment of the foundryman. Whenever you ask, we are there to serve the purpose. Thank you. Next thing, I have just taken some takeaway from this particular webinar, the slide shows and all this. So just I want to conclude on those notes. Number 1 is proper indexing of raw material prices with reliable source of information. Second one is proper contracting with the customer, as Nagesh also says, and many of the speakers also expected the same thing. Frequency of price correction may be quarterly, yearly, or monthly, depending on the business, the customer, and the product mix as well. For exports and in case of bidding and tenders, risk of raw material hike needs to be considered while bidding or while quoting the tender. Monthly or immediate price correction should be there if the delta goes about, say, 10%. So that should be considered in your proper contracting with the customer. So this is very important thing again. Manage and control and maintain optimum inventory in raw material as well as WIP to reduce your losses during such critical situation. So controlling the inventory is very important for the foundryman in such critical situation. Next one is hold supplies if customer is not willing to give the price increase to compensate raw material price hike. This is very important. It will definitely going to make you loss. So you have to try to convince your customer, and if he not, even though he is not agree, you have to stop the supplies, because you can't run the business in loss. Next is cash flow and financial stability to make some inventory of raw material and WIP to get benefited in this critical and tricky situation. So cash flow and financial stability is very important. Your relations and tempo and the understanding with the customers will help suppliers to get better benefits in this situation from the customer. So you keep your tempo with the customer very we can say friendly and good, so that he can help you in this situation. So it's a win-win situation, we can say. Foundry's central community should take it to the government and ministry to take some action for long-term smooth flow of prices, which will make business more viable and simple. Next takeaway is need awareness of impact of price increase of raw material on the casting price in small scale industry, and they should dare to ask it for to their customer. The fear should be totally taken away, and they should go and ask their customer for the price increase, not to fear that they will lose their business. Improving negotiation skill of foundries. This is another important factor, that you have to improve your negotiation skill with the customer, because most of the customers are on bigger size with respect to scale. So you have to improve your negotiation skill to get desired price revision. Do not shy or wait for putting price revision demand. This is another important thing. Make sure you do proper agreement with the customer for the price rise, in which you want price rise like scrap, alloys, power cost, sand, core additives, etc. I have missed out here labor. Labor is another important factor. If it is not clearly defined, he may disagree at the time of price rise to give it and refuses to pay at that particular price change. So you have to put it that in the agreement while making the agreement. So you have to be very prompt while making the agreement as well. More strong unity of foundry industry owners to solve these issues in long run. This is also important factor, I thought. More strong unity of foundry industry owners to solve these issues in long run. It has been repeated. Try to get payments from the customer on time to make up this situation and maintain cash flow, because cash flow will give you freedom and advantage of buying the material and keeping your we can say production and production series going on. Last but not least, continue efforts to find out some unique solution internally to face this drastic situation, because every time customer will not come and give it immediately. So you have to make your own internal solutions available with you by increasing value addition, by reducing waste, by optimizing casting weights, reducing rejections, and by improving efficiency at all levels. So these internal efforts will help you to sustain for some time till customer gives this difference in raw material hike. So this is from my side. Thank you very much for attending this panel discussion, and have a great year of 2021 ahead to the foundry industry and all for your own personal growth as well. So thank you, and I request you to please join us tomorrow at 4 p.m. for our 100th online session by DFG, that is a Dynamic Foundry Group. It is a technical talk on improving melt shop control and cost reduction by using digitalization means by Mr. Darshan Thakkar and Mr. Christian Kielberg of FRP. So please join us, and thank you very much for joining this webinar, all the viewers or the panelists for giving your time and your efforts in a very short note, we can say short notice period, and making this session successful, and we can say very interactive as well. So thank you. And if you have any questions, I don't think there is much time with because as Amit said, this is the last evening of this 2020 Sunday. So I don't want to spoil your evening. So I take your leave and say thank you very much to all, and good night.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you all.
wish you very happy New Year.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, Happy New Year to all of you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good
Thank you.
webinar. Well conducted.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to all.